And for more on the political impact of Vice President's visit to Greenland, here with us is Republican strategist Alex Zdan and Democratic strategist and federal government legislative attorney Dante Mills. Gentlemen, good morning. Alex, I'll start with you. According to a new poll, less than 20% of Americans are in favor of the U.S. annexing Greenland. Denmark, of course, our NATO ally, has said they don't appreciate the tone of our vice president. They said this morning, this is not how you speak to your allies. Can you give us a sense of the strategy here for the Trump administration?
The strategy here is that this is not really about Denmark. It's about Europe. It's about the fact that Europeans have underinvested in the security architecture necessary to protect the continent from threats like Russia since the end of World War II. President Trump and Vice President Vance are using as big a megaphone as they possibly can to bring this discrepancy to light. I'm glad the Vice President went to an American military base in Greenland because I think it's so important that in this debate, what gets lost is that there are already American boots on the ground in Greenland. America is already committed to Greenland's defense through that base and through NATO. And I think that both the people of the United States and the leaders of Europe and the people of Greenland should be highlighting that and realizing that this is a reality that's happening right now.
I mean, there are about 150 U.S. troops in Greenland. Dante, I think a lot of people are wondering why there weren't more diplomatic channels used, but how do you see this playing out?
Well, we see this as a strategy where they create a problem and say, well, hey, guys, we're the one to fix it. It's not like Greenland is under attack. So when they come in saying, well, Denmark is not protecting Greenland, they're not keeping Greenland safe. Safe from what? Nothing is happening there. So it shows just the ideology of this administration. We saw President Trump do this before with immigration. Come in and say, oh, everybody's raping and killing. They're coming in and raping and killing us here in this country. So you need me to protect you from that. It's the same thing they're trying to do here with Greenland, saying Greenland is not being defended well. And that we're the ones who need to defend them. Now, I can't push back or take a side of whether or not it's beneficial to acquire Greenland. It may have some benefit to this country, and I see that. But the way we're going about it is a bully tactic that this particular administration uses often. I just don't think it's going to work here. It needs to be more diplomatic. There are benefits that we can show, but we have to be honest with them and not create a void or chaos that we then try and come in and fill.
All right, gentlemen, I know this is a big topic, but we have to talk about tariffs as well. There's a new wave of tariffs, as you both know. They go into effect on Tuesday. This comes amid new concerns over inflation. A tough Friday on Wall Street. The Dow tanked 700 points. Alex, Americans are concerned about tariffs. We know consumer sentiment is down. What will that do to their spending power? Is the Trump administration doing a good job when it comes to messaging on these tariffs?
I think they are. And I think that because these tariffs are looming does not mean they've been implemented. Look, Wall Street does not like uncertainty. We know that. So Tuesday, we've got a firm date where we're going to know a little bit more. But I actually suspect that the negotiations that are going on right now could produce some sort of delay or change in these tariffs. Obviously, the Trump administration is negotiating loudly with Canada, but they're negotiating more quietly with Mexico. And the Mexican president has seemed to have more success in getting her message to the White House. I think it's not outside the realm of possibility that we could see some sort of deal before Tuesday. And don't forget, the Canadians have an election later in April, so that's going to factor into all of this as well.
And like you just mentioned, Alex, we know Trump and the Prime Minister of Canada spoke on Friday. Both described the meeting as productive, but Canada is set to implement retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. Dante, how do you see that playing out?
I'm in favor of tariffs. I think we need to do something in this country to bring manufacturing jobs back. We have to start creating, building, and making things here. That's a way that you can come in on the factory line, and then in 10, 15 years, you're in a leadership position, you have a pension, you can afford a home for your family. I think it's imperative to get manufacturing back in this country, and I think tariffs is a way to do that. That 25% says, listen, guys, you guys need to buy American cars. And when you do, it will lead to more companies coming in, setting up plants here, and giving jobs to neighborhoods, states that need them. I know there's a lot of places in Pittsburgh, in Ohio, Philadelphia, that we can stick a factory or a plant, and it will make a huge difference. So I'm in favor of this. It may hurt for a while. I think that's the messaging that the administration needs to work on, just letting the American people know it may take a little bit of time. But I think overall, this is a good thing. and we should stay the course.
All right, that's what the administration is saying as well. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Dante, let me stick with you. Let's move on to the administration's efforts to cut waste. A federal appeals court ruled DOGE can resume efforts to dismantle USAID. On Friday, Trump pledged to help Myanmar and the region after that massive earthquake that we were talking about earlier in the show. But USAID is the very organization that would help when it comes to these nations around the world. So what are your thoughts on this, Dante?
I have a problem with it. This is a continuation of this administration and DOGE in particular trying to treat this country like a business or like a company. It's not. You can't do that. One, because businesses fail. And in fact, some of President Trump's businesses has failed, and we don't want this country to fail. So you have to allow things to be in place. You have to follow the rules and procedure and not just slice away, because there are things that this government does and different departments do that's beneficial, that may not be cost effective. The post office may be harming us, but we need the post office. How are people going to get medications in the mail? So I think they need to just take a pause on slicing and allow our country to have programs that's for the people, whether they make money in the end or not.
Alex, quick response.
I think that nobody's cut the Navy, nobody's cut the Marine Corps. The State Department is still functioning well. There are numerous ways to get aid to people in need. USAID is not the one-stop shop for that. And I think that the Trump administration is going to help out wherever we can.
All right, Alex Zdan, Dante Mills, pleasure talking to both of you. We hope you both come back. Dante, I know it's your first time on the show. Thank you again.